Alright guys, we have our hardware all ready and we are going to start installation on the AZZA Genesis 9000. Going over our components real quickly here, we have the ASUS P9 X79 Pro motherboard. We have our Intel Core i7 3820 processor, and cooling that is the Noctua NHL12 CPU cooler. We also have 16 gigabytes of G.Skill Ripjaw Z memory. We're going to be installing an OCZ Vertex 4 2.5-inch solid state drive. We have a Western Digital 1 terabyte regular drive. We have our ASUS Blu-ray burner. We have a Sapphire Radeon HD 6950, and finally we have our OCZ Fatality Series 1000 watt power supply. One thing that is really great about this case is that it has a removable motherboard tray, so we can just take this out very easily here. Make sure wires don't get stuck there. Take it out very easily and go ahead and start our motherboard installation. So what we're going to do now is get our motherboard into the actual motherboard tray. Now we are ready to install our motherboard here, and I did have to install 3 more of the standoffs, and they were actually quite difficult to get in, probably because this has a nice polished finish on the inside, but it would have been nice if they included one of the tools that allow you to lock these in. Luckily I did have another one from another case. If you want to know what I'm talking about, you guys can see that right there. It's a nice little tool that allows you to lock in your standoffs. This case did not come with one. Again, I would have liked to seen it, especially because these were so hard to get in initially. But let's go ahead and put our motherboard in very simply. Just go like this. And again, we have tons of room because we are outside of the case. Go ahead like that. And actually, these line up pretty much perfectly. This is actually, some cases you have to push and pull a little bit, but looking at the standoffs here, we are lined up perfectly. So we're going to go ahead and put the screws in and secure our motherboard. We've secured our motherboard with screws, and the next step is to install our video card. Should be very simple. Now if you have a longer video card, what you're going to want to do is make sure you put it under this rail right here first. So go ahead and put it under there, and then make sure you have it lined up and press it in like that. Of course, we're going to secure it with thumb screws. And now the only thing that I see with this bar right here, it may block your PCI Express power, so you want to check on that. If it does, it's easily removable. You take out 2 thumb screws and you can take it off completely. Now it's time to install our video card stabilizers if you would like to use one. Now normally what you would do if we were installing this the regular way, you would actually put them like this, of course, to support your video card. But we're going to be installing this reverse ATX, so we're actually going to want to put it this way. So go ahead and do that. Put it in there, make sure you line it up first, and then there's the bottom locking piece, and of course our thumb screw right there. So you put the bottom locking piece in and use the thumb screw to secure it. Get it all the way in there. And we're ready to actually put everything back in the case. To get the power supply installed in the front of the case like AZZA wants you to do, you actually have to remove the one cooling fan right here. And to do that, you need to remove 4 screws on the bottom of the case, pop the bottom of the case off, remove 4 more screws on the fan, and then take it out. It is a lot of work, especially if you're a first-time builder. It's going to be a lot of work for you, but you want to go ahead and slide your power supply in, and the rule of thumb is you want your fan to always be facing down. So we go ahead and slide this in. It is very easy to slide in once you get it lined up in there. Slide it in and then push it all the way to the front. And when you do that, if we move this around here to the front, you guys can see that it is right here, and push it up. We can line it up. It's going to be secured with 4 screws, and then your front panel power is going to go in nice and easily just like that, and you're going to be good to go. As far as your 2.5-inch or 3.5-inch hard drive installation goes, you actually take the drive cages or trays out from the front. So we're going to use these 2. So they should come out nice and easily here. So we take the front bezels off, which is pretty easy. And now what you're going to want to do is pull these out. What you need to do is on the side here, there is a lever or a button that says push here. So we can go ahead and push that in, and that will release it. and you can take out the tray. The trays are made of metal, and they have room for 2.5-inch or 3.5-inch hard drives, and the holes for the screws are labeled for 2.5-inch or 3.5-inch, which is actually pretty cool. And remember, when you're done, you can go ahead and put them back in, which we'll actually show you in a second. We have installed our drives in the cages. Here's the 2.5-inch drive, easily installed with 4 screws on the back. Same with the 3.5-inch drive, but go ahead and slide these in. Now, because they are metal, they are a little bit more finicky to actually get in there perfectly. As you can see here, I'm having a little trouble lining these up perfectly. There we go. You line them up, and then you make sure you're holding down the button here, and you slide it in until it locks, and there you go. It will lock right into place. 3.5-inch drive, as you can see, same thing, 4 screws on the back. This one's a little bit heavier, so it might be a little bit harder to get in there, but they are fairly easy. It's just a little finicky sometimes. Again, make sure your button's pressed down until you get past there, and then let it go and lock it right into place. When you're done, you put the bezel covers back on, and you're ready to go to the next step. Optical drive installation is pretty much the same as the hard drive trays. You need to slide it in. Now, this is a little bit more difficult because it is a pretty tight fit, and it's actually kind of hard to see. I need to actually look behind and make sure I am all lined up. And you also want to hold in the button so you can get it all the way in there. It should slide in, and then let go of the button here, and then it will lock right into place. You can see you are lined up perfectly with the rest of the front bezels there. Now, one of the coolest things about this case is that you can install your motherboard regular ATX or reverse ATX. And we're actually going to install reverse ATX, but I'm going to show you how easy it is to put in both ways. So this would be normal ATX. And let's get it in there. And slide it in. You can see how easy that would be. Now, if we were going to keep it this way, all we would do is put back on the screws on the back, and then there are 3 right here that lock the motherboard tray in place. But we're going to actually do reverse ATX. So let's go ahead and take it out. And again, you can see it is pretty easy to do. It doesn't take that long at all, really. Go ahead and slide it in there. You just want to make sure your cables are not going to get stuck on anything. And go ahead and slide this back in. And again, to lock it into place, we're going to put the screws on the back here and on the back side of the motherboard tray. I went ahead and routed all my cables and connected everything. I had no problems installing anything really. It's nice that they have these 4 large holes up top here that you can easily route all your header cables and fan cables and front panel cables and everything like that very easily. Everything looks really nice inside. Now, there are the 2 large cable routing holes, but there are some, issues right here. You are going to be able to see a lot of this, but besides that, I think everything turned out pretty well, and it looks really good. So now it's our moment of truth. We have everything installed. Everything we hopefully is connected all right, and the way to test that is we hit the power button here, and of course it turns on and it lights up nice and blue. Now, if you don't like these, you should be able to turn these off like that. So they turn off and on nice and easily, just on and off, no other settings or anything like that. So maybe if you're sleeping or something like that, you can turn them off, and if you want them on, especially if you're at a LAN party or something like that, you can turn them on and you're good to go. So this has been the installation on the AZZA Genesis 9000 full tower case. Check back very soon on thinkcomputers.org for the full written review. And remember, if you like our videos, why don't you subscribe? Catch you guys later.